Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Critical Podcast. I am your host, Jimmy Good, and joining me once again is my go-to podcast compadre and co-host, Mr. Joe Lever. Joe, how are you doing this week, my friend?
Very good, Jimmy. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great now, man. That was fantastic. I was ready. You were like a cobra right there, just like...
Apologize. Strike quickly. Apologies to those audio listeners. My levels probably spiked pretty good there. Just making sure everybody's awake.
Yep. We got to make sure they're on top of it. Yeah, because we don't want people listening to these and just being like lackadaisical. They need to be invested, all right? Because we are right in the same room with you right now. I don't know if that comes through as ASMR. A lot of people have said since I got this new mic, it sounds like I'm like creeping up behind. I'm like, hi, how you doing? So let me know if those levels are getting to you. But anyway, Joe, thank you for being here today. This is an idea.
Pleasure.
This podcast this week comes in from a question we've talked about in the past a little bit. I wanted to circle back to it, and it was a question that Missile Mage he sent it to me, and I kind of forgot to talk about. And the question was thus: he asked, what is your favorite snack to sneak into a movie theater? And then that got me thinking about just favorite snacks and stuff, just at the movies, at home, all that stuff, because obviously we haven't really been to movie theaters in a while. And just kind of talking about what we enjoy, here at home, maybe that we couldn't enjoy in a movie theater and vice versa. Plus, the also fun fact of that, as guys, at least where we're from, there's not a lot of guys carrying like purses or backpacks all the time into movie theaters sometimes. But if you're going with like a girlfriend or a significant other or family member who has a big purse, then you could sneak in items. We are not saying you should do that, but, yeah.
I won't do it. It's not right.
It's not right, yeah.
I won't do it.
But if you're a guy who's just walking in, from your car off the street, you're more often than not, there's not a place where you could hide like a pop can or something. You'd be like,
exactly. I wear pants that fit,
yeah.
And I don't wear giant jacket. Well, okay, maybe a jacket if it's poofy enough, poofy.
I like cargo pants, but then again, if I walk in, you'll know it because it'll be like, shik. So I'll be like,
waddle to you,
yes.
Like, sir, that's quite the limp you have there.
I'll be like, yeah.
I'm just trying not to shake the soda.
Yeah, exactly. Then you just hear the crack of the can in the theater as it explodes. Just I bet that happens a lot more.
The first assumption, nobody assumes that you snuck in a soda either. They think you snuck in adult beverages for sure.
Dang, so. I'm just like so. I'm just young at heart because I always think it's a pop, but I guess he makes sense. If I see somebody with a brown bag, though, I'll be like, oh yeah, so they're gonna have fun at the movie theater, because obviously at the movie theaters they do tend to upcharge, especially on alcohol. I can't imagine how much more that gets to be at a movie theater if you're going to purchase it. But anyway, we're going to talk about our favorite snacks and what we like to either purchase at the movie theater legitimately or have at home. Now, Joe, I know you and I have gone to a few films together, and your thing has always been you can't watch a movie without getting like a medium pop of some sort, a soft drink to bring in with you. You might get other things. Has that changed? Like, if you go back to movie theaters, is it like you got to get a medium drink? And if so, what is it?
So let's put it this way. It's for the same reasons I do this podcast. I enjoy theater. The thing is movies are great. And I like them. I like talking about them. That's why I'm here. It's one of the common interests that you and I have always shared. Mm-hmm. And for me, the one thing about film that I like to make it an experience, right? And I don't think you necessarily complete the experience, especially the movie theater experience. You're already spending money for the tickets. Yeah, snacks and drinks cost a bit, but this is an experience. How often do you go to the theaters? Maybe once a month if you're lucky. Maybe it's a dry year, dry season, and next it's every few or every 5 even.
Yeah.
It might be 3 times a year. Splurge once in a while. Treat yourself, have fun, and enjoy the experience. Going to the movies, that's what it's all about. It's about laughing together at a comedy. It's about gasping together or falling off the edge of your seat with a crowd that's there for the same reason you are. And the movie theater smell. You got your popcorns, you
Yep.
got your ices,
Oh, yeah.
you got your chocolates, you got your sour candies, and you can smell them all in one room. And that's freaking great.
Yep.
So for me, I mean, it's the experience. I always have to kind of make it an experience for myself, and it just kind of amps up the enjoyment for me. So yeah, I treat myself. It's not going to break the bank. It's expensive, but live it.
Yeah. So if you're still getting that medium soft drink, do you ever go large, or is it medium for a reason? I don't know if that's changed
Oh,
at
I
all.
don't know. Sometimes it depends on my mood, or sometimes theaters have different prices by a little bit,
Sure.
and large is, $6 instead of, what I'm used to seeing at like 10. I'm
Yeah.
like, $6, whatever. Yeah, I'll go large this time.
And
Um,
yeah, what kind? What flavor do you get? Do you do the Coke Freestyle if they have it, or are you kind of like a
well,
purist?
how are we doing this now? Are we just gonna lead right into like what are our go-tos right out
Oh,
of the
we don't
gate?
have to if you just like I want to tease this out for like 45 minutes and be like Dr. Pepper. People will be like, "Ah!" Like
Oh.
we don't do you not like Dr. Pepper?
I haven't had it in such a long time. It's weird to me.
Okay, it
I
is
don't know what those flavors are.
23 unique flavors. I don't
One
know.
of them's got to be some sort of cherry. I'm pretty sure another
Yeah,
one
there's
of
a
them is
lot. We've
NyQuil.
you know what? We've actually looked it up on this show before. I can look it up again. I think we went through once and I like listed all the ones that they talked
Look it
about.
up. We got to know. Look it
Looking
up.
it up. Looking it up while you talk
In
about
the
so
meantime, I will get to what I prefer beverage wise, and let me know if you agree. I want to see comments on this video for show. Um,
mm, mm.
so I prefer theaters that have Coke. I prefer the freestyle machine with the select whatever plethora of Coke products that you want. Um, so I prefer that as
Yeah.
opposed to Pepsi, which I don't know if Pepsi's ever caught up and done that whole freestyle touchscreen thing. I guess I've never been to a place that would have it. Um,
Yeah, not that I can think of.
so I really like those.
Yeah.
There's pros and cons though, and here's the main con that kind of bugs me. And there's a trick to it. There's a trick. Listen up to old Joe here. Listen, listen. Tips coming in hot. And Jimmy, you'll probably agree. The person in front of you just got a sugary, sappy cherry Coke. Wink, wink. And and you're behind them. You're coming in. You're gonna get some sort of lemon lime, a little bit more clear citrus flavored beverage.
Yeah, baby.
You don't want all that crap mixing around. You got to clear out the pump. Clear out the pump, the
Clear out the
nozzle.
lines.
Probably just the nozzle. I'm assuming the lines all merged together and whatnot. But anywho, clear out that nozzle. Run either some water through it or your soda. Run a little bit through to the drain first. Yeah, it's a waste, but whatever. You want the best of every flavor available. So you run it through, clear it out a little bit. Then get your ratio of ice together. Now,
Yep.
me, I kind of like a little bit of ice. So that's why sometimes I'll opt for the large, because I'll really fill that sucker with chips and then get my beverage in. So just because I really like a cold drink and I like I don't know what it is, but I like ice in my drink. Granted, I know you can, miss out on a bit of soda because of the volume and whatnot. But anyway, I mean, tip number one with those Coke freestyle machines, rinse it out first. Give her a and then fill your cup up. But I guess that's really about it. And make sure to use your nose to hit the buttons. And, if you accidentally lick the screen, it's okay.
No, don't do any of that. Now,
Definitely don't do any of that. We'll get coronavirus 2.0.
Exactly. It's funny. I'm glad that you like those machines because I genuinely don't. Now, here's the reason why. Joe, you make great points, obviously. My problem is I don't know if it's like a ratio thing, but I always feel like the Coke, because it's in there, it's meant to be mixed. So it's like maybe I don't want cherry Coke. Maybe I want Coke with orange in it or something weird like that. So it's not like the pure Coke mixed with like an orange syrup. It's almost like a different Coke entirely, almost, or something. Like I don't know if it doesn't. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't taste like a normal Coke out of a fountain would,
It might
right?
be a little different, and I got to tell you, so I'd have to look at one of these again.
Yeah.
They're not a self-contained unit,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you're experienced in the food service industry.
Mm.
My parents had a restaurant growing up, and granted, it was Pepsi, but all that is housed in a room. Typically a storage closet or a basement below, something behind that wall, and all the lines run from boxes with bags, or in this case, I assume that they have something of larger capacity due to the volume of customers, but runs through the lines and then it mixes with CO2 midway. And
Yeah.
then, how does it work? Or it mixes at the actual nozzle or something, but it actually starts as a bag of syrup with that
Yeah.
flavor. So
Yeah.
Coke and your orange or vanilla. So you're right. In this case, you're doing that mix. So
Yeah.
it might be pulling from a bag of vanilla syrup and then the Coke over here. So you might be right. There might be some sort of ratio mix up that's slightly off. Like I know you're a cherry Coke guy, right?
Yeah, usually. Or if you like,
Spoiler. Oh crap.
that's
My
okay.
bad.
Well, that's all right. We'll see. But if you get just regular Coke out of those things, it comes out, and they obviously they add coloring to make Coke and Pepsi the colors they are. But it always comes out like more clear than I think it should. Like there's something
Think
I
it's
look
not
at.
as potent.
Yeah, it's not as potent. And I'm like, if I could get to those bags of syrup, Joe, I would vamp those bags so hard. I would just grab
You
bag.
want to? You want to know what that's like?
Oh my gosh, it'd be amazing.
So I've done that. I think I did that to a
What?
Mountain Dew once. It had a hole in it, and me and my buddy, it had to be tossed because it was leaking all over. And we got on it and took a swig straight out of the syrup bag, and it was weird. It was weird.
My dream. My dream. I bet it would taste. Did it
Yeah,
taste good?
it is definitely. I don't want to say it's like it's very sugary. It is of a thicker viscosity, but it's not literally like I wouldn't describe it as maple syrup consistency.
Sure.
So although you call it syrup, it's not quite that. But
It's probably what they pump
really,
into
this
the ices, right?
probably similar,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's still even a little thinner. I think what really, and then the CO2, the carbonation that gets added, just kind of lightens it up,
For
kind of a
sure.
thing, and so it changes it up. But yeah, man, it's been so long I can't remember it to every detail. But
Ugh. Live my
I
dream,
wouldn't
dude.
I wouldn't. It's something to try. I don't think I'd vamp it. I don't think I'd
Yeah,
make a habit of it. But
I
you're
would.
welcome to.
I'm making vamp a verb. By the way, according to the Daily Meal, Joe, Dr. Pepper fans believe the 20 flavors are as follows. Do you want to take any guesses?
Fans believe us.
I guess because I don't think Dr. Pepper, I don't know if they've like, I guess it's kind of it's probably trademarked and it's probably like a secret. Like they don't want to
Oh yeah,
tell
secret
people, right?
recipe of some sort for sure.
Some of the
No
stuff I'm like,
question.
yep. And then some of the stuff I'm like, nope. Man, it's okay.
I'm. Can I take a stab
Take
at
a
one or
stab,
two?
buddy. Yeah, of course. Please, please, please.
I feel like one of them has to be. I might go a little off the beaten path here, but there's cherry in there somewhere. And I
Fans.
mean, I'm not giving like scientific terminology,
Yeah.
but some sort of cherry,
Yep.
artificial.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, totally. I think you're totally right.
Specifically, what do they list?
Uh,
Black cherry?
they just say cherry on this one. Again,
Okay.
this is, I don't know how official this totally is, but this looks like the closest I can get. Some of it's nuts.
Everybody listening's like, Joe's going for the low hanging fruit. Everybody knew it was cherry.
I have never thought about cherry when I drink Dr. Pepper, so I think it's just because I think, oh, what's the overall flavor of it? Maybe I should sit there and just. I see the problem is with pop, it's not like something like wine that you would take and swish in your mouth and try to get all the flavors because it will like destroy your teeth. Like,
Yeah, let me get this around here.
yeah, it's just like.
For the audio listeners, that just sounded horrible.
I also like to think for the dentist listening, and it's just like job security because just like you go to the dentist, they're like, have you been like, I don't know, washing your mouth out with pop? You're like, no, but I'm also a pop taster now. Thank you very much. But anyway, Joe,
Cinnamon?
cherry's on there. Cinnamon.
Cinnamon?
I'm not seeing cinnamon. I'm sorry. Nice try, though. You just let me know if you want to take a few more stabs or if you want me to jump right in. Because some of this stuff you'll be like, no way. No way.
There's got to be some common ones. Like, give me some hints. Is there anything spice-wise in there? Cinnamon, nutmeg, something of that nature?
Yep. There's
Vanilla?
nutmeg, very good. Vanilla, very good. Yep.
Nutmeg? Are you kidding me?
Yes, sir.
Sorry,
That's
I got
again
really close to the mic.
And if these are Dr. Pepper fans or mega fans, I would like to think that maybe they're not perfectly like 100% on, but they're probably better than most people. Like,
oh yeah,
maybe
probably close. I mean,
I forget what is it called.
I mean, if I think back to Dr. Pepper, and it's been a long time since I've had it, the fact that I just guessed down the spice list and nutmeg was in there.
Joe, you're on your way to becoming a pop sommelier or a pommelier. If you
what did I get? 3. It was cherry,
3.
nutmeg, vanilla.
He's 3 for 23 right now, ladies and gentlemen. That's pretty darn good. Vanilla's a pretty easy. I think you can almost say that for almost anything now. Just be like, does it have vanilla?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I feel like your baseline is actually like a Coke or some sort.
So cola is on here as just cola. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think you do that and then you start throwing stuff in and you're like, well, make it its own thing. You know.
That's probably as far as I'm gonna get. I want to say like licorice or something really weird, but
very good, Joe. Black licorice. Well done. Yeah, dude. Very good.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, black licorice. That's what they're saying. All right, so here's the list in alphabetical order.
Take it from there. I won't. Yeah.
And again, this might not be exactly right. We're not sponsored by Dr. Pepper. We would love to be, but either way, this is what they are: amaretto, almond, blackberry, black licorice, caramel or caramel, carrot, clove, cherry, cola, ginger, juniper, lemon, molasses, nutmeg, orange, prune, plum, pepper, root beer, rum, raspberry, tomato, and vanilla. Now the rum, obviously not like alcoholic, right? Like they're not like
bull crap. I always knew it.
All the kids are like, if I drank a couple more Dr. Peppers, oh man, school's gonna be rough in the morning.
You realize, I mean, there were quite a few fruits in there. I feel like orange, plum. I mean, I wouldn't have gotten there. Maybe the orange for a citrus, but you even said lemon. But what was the crazy one that you just said?
Rum?
No, not rum. It was next to it. What was that?
You're looking
tomato.
Tomato. That's the one that really jumps out at me. And this might not be like the exact. But
yeah, I don't know what Dr. Pepper fan wrote down tomato, but
I don't know.
Root beer. Believe it or not, my mind was thinking root beer early on when we were talking.
Someone probably
root beer flair there.
You take like a root beer and a cola and put them together and throw some other stuff in there, and that's Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Like that to me makes sense because when you taste it, there's a bite to Dr. Pepper that is reminiscent of root beer a little. You know what I'm saying?
100%, pal.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But again, if you guys know the exact formula for Dr. Pepper, please send it in. We'd love to hear it. If you know it, if you have, maybe you disagree with this and you're like, hey, Dr. Pepper, definitely it has pear in it for sure. I can taste it every time. I don't know. Maybe we could just gaslight some people, Joe, into believing something. Be like, yes, Dr. Pepper has always had this flavor in there. Can't you taste it? And they'll be like, yes, I can taste it. Which that's a fun little trick if you're ever out if you're drinking like beers or wines with people. If you're of age, you can just, I taste the fruity bouquet of blackberry. Oh, me too. It's like, yeah, sure you do.
You made that shit up.
I got him. But yeah, dude, Dr. Pepper, what a weird thing. And then there's Dr. Pibb. You don't really like either, then, do you?
No. Okay. Dr. Pepper. I feel like Diet Dr. Pepper. I feel like I had that more as a kid growing up. For some reason, like if we had soda in the house, there was like Diet Dr. Pepper or a Diet Mountain Dew for some reason.
Dude,
I don't know.
Those are great. I'm not a huge diet fan because I can taste the. I'm such a pure sugar boy, but I can taste like the added sweetener, and I'm like I can taste it. I'll be like, this is diet.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, I don't care either way. regular soda, I'll get to why or when I prefer regular soda, which is really weird. But otherwise, I never drink regular soda, period. Like, I'll drink a Diet Coke now and again. I would never say regularly, but
Yeah,
if I'm out somewhere or out to eat or fast food wise, that's what I'll get. It's just a Diet Coke. But
sure.
otherwise, I'm purely sugar free on everything.
Me
I
too.
don't know, like a sugar. For those listeners who can't see the video, he just took a big old chug out of a Mountain Dew.
I didn't mean to get him. Okay, so I went to this place and they had a co-op deal where it's like you get tacos, but then you can get some tots and a side or like a soft drink. And I was like, I guess I'll just grab a Mountain Dew. I don't normally drink Mountain Dew. I used to when I was younger. I'm more of a live wire and a whiteout guy as far as Mountain Dew goes. There's a lot of
Really?
flavors of Mountain Dew. Yeah, they're more citrusy.
Yeah.
I'd never liked Code Red
So like
though.
if you yeah.
Yeah.
So if you regularly drink soda, or like what's in the fridge now that you would grab if you were, sitting down the kickback, what would you grab?
I've tried to like not have anything. The only thing right now has been a gift that someone got me of a bunch of Coca-Cola. Just like straight up, no messing around, just Coca-Cola. Like just so different. But the
Yeah.
fun thing is, I can taste the difference between fountain, can, and bottle. Like that's like there are differences. There's the
And which one's the best when it comes to Coke?
Oh, when it comes to Coke, that's the trick. So, like for instance, with Mountain Dew, once in a while you can get like a killer can of Mountain Dew, right? But with Coca-Cola, I think it comes out. Sometimes it comes out of the fountain, and maybe that's why I don't like the Freestyle machines. Because if you get a Coke out of a fountain, that like a McDonald's Coke out of a fountain, it can be like murderously good. Like
See, the thing is, though, and I knew you would say this, everybody says it. Coke from McDonald's is on another level.
I don't know what it is. I think
There's
it's yeah.
something, I think, who was telling me? Somebody was telling me that they actually up their dosage of
Oh,
syrup
thank you.
um, when it's coming out of their fountain. So you get like a stronger Coke. And the
Yep.
same goes for their Diet Coke. There's something different about it. If you get a fountain drink from freaking McDonald's, it's just amped up just a little more.
Yep.
There's something different about it. I don't know what it. That's got to be it. It's got a higher dose or ratio or something because it is. It just hits different, man. It's a total vibe.
It's whatever they lace the fries with. They crack open the top of the machine and just sprinkle some in there. And they're like,
Uh huh.
here you
Uh
go.
huh.
Because like when you think of
Because it
McDonald's,
may
you're like, I could go for fries and a Coke right now.
Yeah, and it may sound stupid, but I even like their Diet Cokes better than any that you can get anywhere.
Dude,
Like,
there's something
just a
to it.
large Diet Coke, please.
Dude, for sure. I have a favorite little cafe that you've actually been to, Joe, and I'm pretty sure they up the dosage on their Pepsi there because sometimes they come out and I'm like, that's good sauce because it's almost like it's thicker than like most of their Pepsis. And I'm like, oh yeah, baby. Yeah, it's so bad for me. Oh gosh, I love it so much. It's my vice. But yeah, no, there's something about the Coke out of a fountain that I think is like it can be, and like I said, that's probably why the Freestyle ones kind of let me down. But they do give you a lot of options where it's like I've never tried, Coke with orange like that. Now Coke with orange has become more of a thing, and you can try a bunch of different really crazy things if you want to, like Mellow Yellow with orange in it, which I've done.
Oh,
It's pretty good.
oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
I'm actually gonna pull it up, Jimmy.
pulling it up.
Live fact checking as we talk.
Live fact
I
check,
know.
please.
Why weren't you guys prepared ahead of time for this?
Aw,
Well, we're flowing. We're flowing with the conversation.
flowing.
We're vibing out. We're having
Joe,
a
there's
good
going to be
time.
like 15 people who actually make it to this point in the show. Usually, let's see, how far in are we? We're 24 minutes in. Joe, don't worry about it. The average retention is like around 10 to 15. We're going to be fine. If anybody makes it this far, besides Ryan, I'd be impressed and amazed. And I would say you're amazing and wonderful. If you did, let me know, and I will give you a virtual hug. And if you're not into virtual hugs, a little kind of like a wink and a nod. If that doesn't do it for you, then I don't know what to do. But anyway, I like how we're getting hung up on the drinks because the drinks are a big thing. Maybe there are people out there.
It is a big thing. It's
It is a
like
big
the
thing.
starter.
Well, sure it is. Plus, I know that there's some people out there who probably don't get anything to drink. I know when I've gone to theaters alone, more often than not, if it's just like for reviewing purposes, I would just kind of go and sit there because, like, some of this stuff can paint your feelings towards a picture. Because if you're like, man, like if you got a big old bucket of popcorn and a nice big Coke and stuff, you might be having a better time watching a movie than I would be, just sitting in the quiet dark corner and going like, yes, I'm assessing this film, which I guess I don't really do much anymore. But yeah, it's obviously a consideration. And for the people out there who are, sugar free and just doing diet or just don't do any of that, I'd be curious to hear what you guys think about ices, because while Joe's looking this up, I'm going to give you a little fact about ices right now. It's that
Ooh.
I love them, but here it's like 60% ice. And you know how I can tell? Because after the first 2 or 3 minutes with it, that's what's sitting in my cup. Like after, it's just like this little ice,
Oh, yeah.
it's an iceberg. And I'm like, oh man, I was like, can you just fill it up with syrup, please? And
I feel like the trick is that you have to let those melt a bit so that you really just get them
you might
really
be
mixed
right.
in there, like it's saturated, you know?
Yeah. I've told this story before, but when I was pretty young, I went with a friend of mine to go see the very first Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And we went to see it in theaters with his mom. And I had seen this film before. So when that happens, I give myself the ability to just leave whenever I want. And as a youngster, we went to this place. And at the time, they were serving Mountain Dew slushies. I had 3 or 4 of those because we had free refills that night, and I could just like not sleep afterwards. But man, Mountain Dew slushies and Coca-Cola slushies are definitely an Achilles heel for me. I could crush many of those in one sitting, even as an adult. It's just so good. I love them so much. But I know a lot of people like to get like the blue raspberry or the cherry, or some people like to mix them, which I guess that's a fun thing you can do too. I'm afraid to do that because I think I would screw it up. But the trick is, for everybody at home, here's a little icy trick for you. If you are allowed to pour your own icy, which they don't always let you do, but some places they let you do it and they don't give you free refills, and it's like, don't put them out there. If you're like, give me the free refill option, I'll pay for it. Anyway, so you go up, you put the little plastic, like the little dome on top of the cup first, so it's all attached, there's nothing in there yet, and then fill it up, because then you are allowed to fill up not only the cup, but then also the plastic dome full of icy, and you get a little more icy that way, and it's great. And you're like, oh, sometimes a little bit comes out of the top, and then you can be like, you lick it up like a fiend, because that's what I am, because I want to just turn that nozzle on and just sit under there and just like Homer Simpson it or something. Joe, have you found what you were looking for? I feel like your research
So,
is detailed.
yeah, I'm sorry.
No,
I
it's fine.
got
I
I
don't
got
care.
sucked into all this stuff.
Sucked in, man. That's
Um,
what we're trying to do here. Sucking in ices, man. Mm-hmm. Mm.
so the thing that's strange about it, it's a little different than most machines. It does seem to be somewhat self-contained.
Ah,
But I think for like your primaries, like your actual like Coke, Mellow Yellow, like the prime ingredient, I think those are similar to most machines where the big containers are housed
sure.
through, line sets go back to where they change them out at, and the CO2. But all of your grenadines and things like that, like
Mm.
your cherry, vanilla, lime,
Mm.
lemon, all
Oh
those,
yeah.
those are actually cartridges that are loaded into the front of the machine.
Whoa.
They can actually go into a settings menu and pull up the dashboard showing the levels of everything,
Oh, cool.
which is kind of interesting. I think it only does it for the cartridges though.
Maybe they patented it too. Maybe that's the thing, because we're starting to see that more in like video games. Is like maybe Coke patented the freestyle machine, and Pepsi's like, we'd love to
oh,
make
for
one, and
sure.
Coke's like, if you ever try, we'll sue you. And it's like,
The thing that's really interesting about it is it's weird in that. Sorry, I'm using the wrong terminology here. I
that's
think
fine.
it's weird that there would be cartridges for things because it intuition would tell me, okay, a movie theater, busy movie night. Yeah, you probably have 4 or 5 machines in the theater, like
Yeah,
your AMC. What do you think it's got? Like 8?
yeah. It's well, no, it's probably got 4 to 6, maybe.
So
Yeah,
not a heck of a lot. And
yeah.
so you
No.
get a crowd of hundreds of people coming through, thousands, on a big opening weekend for some films. And I don't see how cartridges would keep up with that demand. You'd be swapping them constantly. It'd be too much maintenance. So I feel like the line set thing still has to be employed here.
Maybe it's
So I
like
think I'm right. If I'm wrong and somebody's actually worked on
that'd be
them,
cool.
comment below.
I wonder if it's like a printer where like they actually don't use that much ink, as it were, so that much grenadine to like they shoot in like the ratio is really small, so that way they don't have to change them out as often. Plus, there's also like the cooling units and things you have to consider with those. On top of that as
Ooh,
well, right? Because they come out
I've
cold.
answered my own question.
Oh, you did?
Yep, because I just found the diagram that shows the Freestyle machine is out front. It's got single cartridge slots. Yeah, for all those sweetener blends. And then
Delicious.
in the back room, you have your carbon dioxide
Oh yeah.
tank,
Yep.
your
Yep. Yep.
water supply, and then you have all of your what do they call these? I don't know. They're boxes with bags, just like I
Yeah.
was talking. Excuse me. There, that shows up.
Oh, cool.
Nice diagram.
Yeah.
Then you got the Freestyle machine out here, and then over here you've got the backroom supplies, the CO2 tank, some cartridge storage,
That's
and then
cool.
your main boxes of ingredients with the Coke and whatnot. So anyway, I know that was a long-winded discussion
Dude,
on
no,
the drinks,
it's a
but
good
it's
thing.
kind of cool to
Yeah.
know what you're getting and how.
Also,
But yeah, the Freestyle machine. What else could we learn about them, Jimmy? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
no,
I
it's
don't want
fine.
to tear
What else
here.
can we learn about him? How's the
How
cooling
many
work?
different combinations?
Oh, how many different combinations? I'm gonna say 6 million. I'm shooting high because sometimes it's nuts.
Did you just say 6 million?
Yeah, I don't know. I went really too high. I would never be good on prices right. Sorry, Drew. I overshot. Should have sent $1. He's thinking about it.
How many different combinations? Answer me.
See, I want to know about the cooling stuff too, but yeah, Joe also talked about this a little bit. I hate ice in my drink because I feel like I'm being cheated. Like if you get free refills, look at the ice, but it comes out cold, and I don't have to get up more, so it kind of just plays into the sedentary thing. Also, don't like watered down pop, but that's just me. Anyway, sorry, Joe. Did you find out a number?
I mean, I kind of agree, Jimmy. I don't like it to be watered down
Yeah.
either. I don't like my ice melting so much that I don't hear it clanking around in there. I like it to have like a
Like I have a meaty feel. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Middle of
If
the
I hear like ting 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 ting, I'm like, I need more ice. I like ice.
That's thrilling
I like
suspense scene. Joe's just going, and he's like, "Well, that's a good amount of ice in there." You know?
Yeah. None of that product is refrigerated, by the way. It must come from cold water.
Oh, I guess that would make sense. Okay.
Yeah, but it's also not
Cool.
because I remember if I didn't add ice to a drink at our restaurant, it was just kind of room temp.
Yeah, lukewarm.
Whatever temp the boxes of syrup were downstairs is what they were coming out of the gun.
So, what's the number of combinations?
100 plus choices. I think they say on average it's 100 choices.
100. I feel like there's more than that, but I guess it's because you pick like Coke and then it gives you 5 different options. You can't do like I want to do Coke plus root beer plus lemon, and that's one option. Okay.
Yeah, they say there's no definite. They're showing all drinks low, no cal, fruit flavored, caffeine free, Coke, Diet Coke, Coke Zero, caffeine free, Sprite Zero, Pib, all of them. They're saying about 100.
Okay.
Which wow, choices.
Sure.
There's no eeny, meeny, miny, mo in that, is there?
No, not necessarily. Oh, by the way, caffeine-free Coke from a can, not that bad. Really can't taste much of a difference at all. I think when they eliminate something like caffeine, I'm just like, why did they put this in there in the first place? I bet if you went back and researched it, like soda pop, they like put caffeine in to amp people up, or get them energized, but it's just not really necessary.
Well, something that I find like they're doing the whole Pepsi Zero and Coke Zero.
Yeah.
I guess more prominently Coke Zero, I think, if I think about it.
Yeah.
I like Coke Zero, the black can or whatever.
I do.
I like it.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, it almost has that slight hint of regular Coke, just it's not like as grainy on you.
Mm-hmm. I disagree, but I'm glad that you think that. For me, I'm like, what is this garbage? Get this out of here. This is a 0 out of 10.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's bad. But I personally like to put mine over what I do here. See, hear me out now. Crushed ice, right?
Okay.
Layer of crushed ice.
Crushed ice.
Some cubed ice, and then just a little bit more crushed ice. And then a liberal application of Jim Beam. And then Coke Zero on top of that, and you're good to go.
This is at
You're
home, by the
good to
way.
go.
If the Jim Beam didn't give it away, it was the difference between the ices, which I don't think you can normally change on the freestyle machines. They're like, "Where's the crush?" They're like, "Sorry, sir, it only
Not on
comes
the
out in cubes."
freestyle machine, but
Yeah.
I mean, if you go to an adult, like what the Mall of America, they probably haven't opened it yet, but that new theater or whatever that they were
Oh
redoing,
yeah, we got to go
they were
there.
gonna have a bar and everything with
Oh yeah.
cocktails and all that sort of stuff, right?
Yes, which a lot of
Yeah.
places have started doing because if they do like a, or one of my favorite theaters here actually has like an upstairs balcony that has like the bar and stuff, and then you can order food or drinks in, and then it's only 21 plus and up upstairs, which can be pretty good. But yeah, you know what? I was thinking about this, Joe. I don't know if you recognize this in Florida or when you're down at Disney World. They have cylindrical ice cubes down there. And it's one of the only places I've ever seen that has cylindrical ice cubes. I don't know if it's a choking thing.
Do they have holes?
They do have holes in the middle. Yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
a little cylinder. And I don't that's very uncommon, but I don't know if that's supposed to be like easier for families or what it is, but I was like, that's such a fascinating thing. I'd like to look into it. Because
I'm looking into it right now.
Coke has been a big like I have to look into this too, but Coke is what is, for people who don't know, that is the only soft drink they sell on Disney property typically, and they have like a pretty big partnership with them. I've heard like rumors about how it actually works, but I have no concrete information if this is true or not. But yeah, like Coca-Cola is like, it is synonymous with Disney stuff, especially in Walt Disney World. It's like,
Yeah. Speaking of that, I have a comment kind of related.
oh
But
yes,
first, to answer your question about
yeah,
the cylindrical ice cubes with the holes.
give it to me.
Um, so there's really no functional reason as to why.
Okay,
Um, it's apparently due to the way it's made, a type of ice machine. I mean,
okay,
obviously, but there's no reason behind it. Um, so what happens there is there are certain ice machines that have really cold metal rods,
okay.
and they're in a moist chamber, is what they say, a moist chamber.
Yep, I hear
And
that.
as the water condenses on the rods, it freezes, and they basically slide down the rod and get
Oh,
clipped off.
cool.
So it's basically freezing a cube around a cold rod, which is really kind of interesting. Apparently, some fridges even have it, but I don't see that often either. I've
Sure.
maybe seen it at some restaurants. I don't remember at Disney, but you must, yeah. I mean, if
Yeah,
anybody's going to know, it's you.
I don't know. Well, also maybe it's more expensive or takes up more space, and you wouldn't see it in more commercial grade things nowadays because it's just like a thing
It,
people don't need, you know?
it's probably, yeah, it's probably some sort of high capacity ice maker, that sort of thing, you know.
Which, when you think about ice cubes, it does feel like, when you really think about it, it feels like one of the most first worldy things you can get. And it's like, I like cold water, but I'd also like frozen water on top of it. And it's like, okay, okay. Like, it's like the you see like the liquid nitrogen stuff, or like they're showing stuff off at restaurants now that's got like the gaseous thing. It's like, well, it comes out in like a glass dome and they lift it off and it's like all this gas goes over. It's like, ooh, it's like, yeah, it's like, all right, here we go. We're moving on to
That's
gases,
funny.
guys. Oh my
So
goodness.
down south, I'm originally from Cincinnati, right?
Is that
Like
down
Mountain
south?
Dew and stuff, like you gotta be particular when you order a soda, and they know you're from somewhere else the second you say it. Um, like if you specify, like, can I get a Pepsi? They're like, what? Down there, every soft drink is just, you want a Coke?
It was in
You want a
Cincinnati. It
Coke?
was like that too, huh?
Yeah,
Really?
and they don't serve it with lids or straws. It's always open.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I know that's how it is in
It's always
Texas.
open top.
Like, you want like a Coke Sprite or something
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
weird. Like Coke is like their term for soda or soft drinks, period.
That
Doesn't
is
matter.
just,
And of course, the
yeah,
Cincinnati accent is like Coke, Coke, Coke. I can't even do it, and I'm from there.
yeah.
Um,
You've been in Wisconsin too
my
long.
cousins say it that way, and so do my uncles and aunts. But
You got to give it to a
you know,
company that's like just cornered, not the entire market, because obviously there's Pepsi and RC Cola and other things, but like the fact that people use that as a term to refer to a thing. It's like Kleenex. It's like actually they're
uh,
tissues, but like I'll be like, yeah, can I get a Kleenex? And Kleenex
I
brand
don't
paper
have
company.
that brand name here.
Exactly. Yeah, they're like, I'm sorry. Like, oh, you wanted a
That's
tissue.
that's what I hate. So relating to my line of work, construction,
Mm.
I hate when people call a skid steer a bobcat. Like every skid steer
Ah,
in the world's a bobcat, right?
Bobcat.
No, Bobcat is the brand. That's a
Mhm.
white one, and it's got the Bobcat logo. It's a head, on the side, and it's white and orange and black.
Mhm.
That's a caterpillar. Yellow, and it says cat on the side. I know the cat part can get confusing, but they're
Mhm.
totally different.
Yeah.
Drives me insane.
Reminds me of that time
I'm,
that
I'm
I
an like,
I used to work at a zoo, and I remember the day that I ordered both a caterpillar and a bobcat, and they were completely different than what I was expecting. That's a little animal joke for you
knee
folks.
slapper.
I got him. Yeah. Which, by the way, side note, they're redoing or they're adding on to my old middle school, which was like terror incarnate. One of the worst things. My cousin put it really well. He said one of the worst things in life is being in middle school as a kid and knowing you're in middle school. Couldn't agree more. But anyway, they've got these huge cranes coming out over this, and then they'll like turn them at night or like when they're not working, like over the roads, and they'll be like hanging up and over the road. So you kind of drive under these things that are just like 12 stories in the air, and you're like, huh, if that fell down, it'd probably take out a few of these houses over here. It's just like,
Yeah,
I
it
turned
doesn't
them over
really
here.
seem right. There's actually, so like you have to actually, per OSHA regulations, you got to look up line voltages and
Yeah,
anything that crane can reach. You have to know what it is and what you could possibly encounter
yeah.
if the boom fell or something of
I'm
that
sure they
nature.
have. Or maybe it's just over the little roundabout they put out here too. But still, I'm like, man, if this fell, it'd be
It
pretty
is,
messy.
it's weird that they would do, I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
okay. Don't
sorry.
worry about it. Anyway, so Coca-Cola, man, am I
You're
right?
trying to do a hard change on subjects so I don't get carried
Like
away.
I said,
It's odd that they
nobody's.
would leave them pointed over the road.
Yeah, it is. It's a little unnerving. You look up and you're like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I've watched too many superhero
Sometimes they do
movies.
that for wind.
Oh, you're probably right. It's probably
Yeah.
facing like right at the wind, so it cuts through it as opposed to being flat against it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Side load.
Take
Yeah.
that, physics. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. For sure, something to consider.
Anywho, yeah.
Speaking
Rabbit
about
holes,
wide
huh?
loads, talking about this wide load going on in the movie theater. I'm patting my belly right now for people who are just listening. If you wanted to know a little bit more, but anyway, so that's ice and the Coke Freestyle machines. I think we need for people to know, Joe. They need to know what is your favorite drink to go into
Yeah.
the movie theater with.
Let's
42
get
minutes
to
in.
it, shall we?
I made that joke earlier, and of course we're here. So there we go. Oh my god,
My
I love it.
go-to drink, plain and simple, and I'll give you both options because it's either going to be Coke or Pepsi.
Give it to me.
Um, if I go in and there's a freestyle machine, I'm like, oh, goody. And typically I'll get a medium or a large, depending on price
Yeah.
and how I'm feeling that day. And my go-to is typically a lot of the times I'll do a mellow yellow. If I'm feeling slim, I'll go with a regular. Some scientists out there, nutritionists will say it doesn't matter. The aspartame will kill you.
Oh,
Whatever. Anywho,
yes, darn scientists.
I'll go with mellow yellow. I'd say on average it's actually diet most of the time.
Okay.
But if I really have my way, I'd go with a regular,
Yep.
just because I prefer mellow yellow.
Yeah.
Oh man, I like that.
I do too.
I like it a lot more than Pepsi's Mountain Dew.
I might
Whatever.
too. Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, I probably agree with you there.
There's something about it. It's got like a
Smooth.
stronger citrus flavor,
Yeah.
and it's a little less.
It's less intense.
Yeah, it feels more pure.
Yeah.
If that's an accurate description, there's
Mhm.
something about it that I just enjoy that really actually gives me that citrus feel.
Yeah.
Whereas Mountain Dew has a little bit of an off-putting flavor to it that's not quite the same. So anywho, I will always go with mellow yellow. And if I'm feeling really daring that day, I will totally give her a shot of cherry.
Oh,
A little bit of cherry.
beautiful.
I'm trying to think of what other ones are on there. This is when I'm feeling adventurous. I will go with the grenadines. I'll give her a shot of something and see what's up,
Yeah.
So I know I've done orange before. That one's
Mhm.
pretty good. You put some orange in there, and it makes it even like a citrus overload. But it's just good.
Mellow yellow is just liquid candy, and then you add like cherry or orange to it, and it feels like you're just drinking
Yeah.
like a bunch of Skittles or something or Starburst, and you're just like, like I like it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you.
But 100% that's my go-to. And I think if it was Pepsi, I'll typically go with like sometimes if they have Code Red, I'll do that. Otherwise, with Pepsi, I'm not very particular. I rarely go with a cola. I'll
Yeah,
sometimes go with a Diet Pepsi or a Diet Coke, but really, I'd probably do like a Diet Mountain Dew if it's Pepsi.
sure,
Diet Mountain Dew, plain Jane, simple. And
sure.
then, yeah. But I highly prefer, and my favorite is Mellow Yellow,
Yeah,
hands down.
from the Freestyle
So,
machine. There you go.
yeah, any machine really. I
Yeah,
prefer the freestyle machine because that's fun, and I do like to give it that jolt of cherry or
yeah.
orange or something. That's fun. Oh, it was peach. Son of a bee. There's a
Peach.
peach flavor, and I
Oh,
remember doing
weird.
that once when I was with you at a theater in Minnesota,
Oh,
and
sure.
I the peach with mellow yellow. There's something about that that'll just
Really.
that's tantalizing, as they say.
Oh.
All
Hmm.
right, well, I've gushed enough, Jimmy. Off to you. What's your favorite drink? Give
Oh,
me all options.
I was thinking. So I went to this. Was a pass holder lounge in Disney a few years ago, and they had the freestyle machines up there, Joe. I actually took a picture in front of them because there was like nobody in front of them, and one of the cast members was like, "There's never like nobody in front of these." And they're like, "Do you want a picture in front of it?" And I was like, I have to now." Like I'm like, this apparently is a rare occurrence, and I'm here. I tried like the orange, but I also tried lemon with mellow yellow. It was crazy. It was really good though. Anyway, my personal favorite, if I could have it my way, I need to just start smuggling in grenadine with me. But I like to make what I like to call the blood coke. For a long time, I didn't realize this is just called a Roy Rogers. But I was like, I don't know who Roy Rogers is.
It's
And
a
so
Roy Rogers.
it's
All
called a
right, now hold,
Roy Rogers.
take a quick step back and say, what did you call it again? The
The blood coke. Now, what is a
say it
blood coke?
again, only with an ominous horror film vibe.
The blood coke. Like that? Is that good? That good?
Much more
It's
appropriate.
basically a cherry coke without ice, but way too much grenadine for most people. I'm talking like a 60-40 split if the grenadine is the 60. Like I want to like look this thing up, hold it in the sun, and it's mostly red. And I'm like, oh yeah, baby, okay. So I love a cherry coke, man. And sometimes, and if you want to get a good tip from good old Jim here, if you're ever serving him, I should not refer to myself in third person. Anyway, if you're serving me, if you want to get a good tip, then all you got to do is go a little crazy with the grenadine because more often than not at a restaurant, they don't have cherry coke as an option. And they'll say, "Yeah, we have a bar. Can we just throw some grenadine in there for you?" And I'm like, "Yes." I was like, "And don't skimp on it, or if you put a lot in there, I will be like, okay, you've been raised up. Like that's gonna help out a little bit come tip time. But yeah, I love it. I love a cherry coke. That's probably my favorite. If it's the freestyle machine, I might get a little wild with it. Maybe do the mellow yellow orange. If it's Pepsi though, I usually just go straight Pepsi or like a wild cherry Pepsi sometimes. Again, no ice on any of that. I never like ice personally in my drinks, but that's
But
just
what
a me
about
thing.
the temperature of your drink?
It's
Does that
always
bug you at all?
cold. No, it always comes out cold, and I always drink it fast enough. Like I never
No.
had that problem. You should try it. I don't know. I just feel like, especially if you order it from like a fast food place, you are basically paying for less. Like it's the same thing. You're just getting less of what you paid for.
Sure, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if it's one of those refillable ones, obviously, you could probably put ice in there and be fine. One thing though that I think about sometimes, Joe, is like it'll be like this is $4.75 for a medium pop, but it's $5. It's only one quarter more for infinite refills and stuff. And like how many people, and I've been in this part too, I'm like, yeah, I kind of have to get the large because it's like it's a quarter of a, and then it's like a bucket the size of my head, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna get at least two of these because I paid for it. Like, it's one quarter, but that's what they get
What
you.
percentage gets the refill?
How? Oh, I don't know. That's a good question,
I'd say
man.
probably half or less,
I
less than half.
Well, that's the thing is you get it big enough, and like you. In a better utopia world, it'd be like free refills on the smalls, because you'd have to. The price would be that you have to leave the theater or leave your movie and keep refilling it because it's so small. But like you said, Joe, if there's so many people who get these gigantic ones, especially for themselves, and they get through the movie and they're like, "Oh, I guess I didn't get a refill. Whatever, it's fine." Like the movie theater came out ahead on that one because they're like, "Oh, we didn't lose money."
For
It's
sure.
just the
They're coming out
ices.
ahead anyway.
Well, yeah. Well, the ices, man. I just don't. The one that I used to go to a lot, and I will probably go back to. They put the ices out front, and they don't have a refillable option for purchase. And it's like, don't don't allow them to be out front because you got this guy who's going to walk by when he's leaving thinking, well, those ices look mighty fine, maybe a round 2 or 3. It's like, I should say round 2, and I don't want to be dubious, but oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that you couldn't refill this. You probably shouldn't have them out here for me to stick my face on. Because I swear, I just want to be like, what are you gonna do? Yeah.
So I haven't had an icy in so long, but I do feel like I would be all about an icy with like a lemon lime flavor
as opposed to
like cool. What is it, blue raspberry and cherry?
Yeah, usually. Yeah. That's usually that.
Cherry isn't too bad, but like a lemon lime would be pretty dope.
I've never even thought to mix the Coke with the cherry before. I could make a blood cherry smoothie. Wait, I don't know. It's not necessarily a smoothie, but still, it sounds kind of good. Maybe it would be horrible. I don't know. They don't really mix super well. It'd be like a brown concoction. Well, I guess the Coke is already brown.
Back in the day when Monster Energy was still semi-newish.
Yeah.
I stopped at a 7-Eleven down south one time. I think it's 7-Eleven. And they had a Monster Energy slushy machine.
I was going to ask if this is where it was going. That's incredible.
With like a commemorative cup. I don't think I have the cup anymore, but it was like it was black. The slushy was like black in color.
Oh,
and the cup was black with like a what do they call those? The reflective iridescent
green slashes.
Image changes as you tilt it. But it was a Monster logo that was kind of icy looking, like ice clear or bluish color, and then it had like lightning that would reflect around it. And you ain't had a slushy until you had a Monster slushy. It was actually kind of it was kind of cool. It was kind of Monster flavored, but there was something else going on there too. Hence the black color. But
the black color is a little off-putting. But like it's like if my NOS back in the day, if they made a slushy of that would have been dangerous. It smelled like blue or like bright orange. Or I'd been like,
sure,
take a bite out of that bag. Vamp that bag.
Yeah. Well, and I hate to push the energy drink thing and all that. I mean, they're popular enough as it is, and granted, they aren't really good for you as I'm drinking one. But
this isn't either.
I can't imagine like owning a movie theater and like, so Coke is your vendor, right? You would have access to things like Monster because Coke, I think, is, I don't know. I don't think Coke owns them, but they distribute.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, there's some sort of agreement there because they're always distributing. I'm pretty sure any vending machine that has Coke typically has Monster. And anywho, I would, if I owned my own theater, I'd get a little wild with it, and I would be offering like, it wouldn't just be like soda and soft drinks. I'd like have all sorts of different like weird stuff.
Sure, yeah.
Like so people can really experiment and have fun. But we've spent almost a half an hour or more just on the beverages.
Or more. I'm gonna say or more. We'll move into the more solid, accompaniments, accoutrement, as they say. But let's just get it out of the way right now. Popcorn. Thank you. He's giving me a little golf clap. I'll take it. Popcorn. Yay or nay? Are we in on popcorn? Are we out on popcorn?
Sometimes yes. Typically, the only time I get popcorn is if the wife wants it or the party I'm with wants it, and then we'll share a big bucket. And typically, I don't have too much. And if I'm getting movie theater popcorn, you're darn freaking right. It's got butter on it.
Oh yeah.
And what else? Probably some sour cream and onion dressing flavor, whatever they call that, powdery
Blasphemer.
stuff.
Blasphemer. That's heresy, Zod would say.
You can also put ranch on there.
Oh, gosh, please don't share that with the group. I would be frustrated if I dug my hand in that hot, buttery bag and pulled out some sour cream. I'd be like, come on.
Everybody knows what I'm talking about, right?
That's the dusting.
Shakers of flavoring.
Yeah.
I kind of like those.
I'm with you on the whole, at least popcorn with butter on there. The thing that I've seen people do, and you guys aren't monsters. I just want to put that out there right now. I've seen people do the bunch of crunch in there. They throw it in there too. A little bit of chocolate or like an M&M. I know someone who used to do Sour Patch in there.
What?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. I just want to know if there's anybody out there who's doing popcorn and like throwing really weird stuff in there besides like butter or like the dusting,
M&Ms,
you know.
peanuts.
Yeah, I'm
They're
just
just
thinking.
making trail mix.
Yeah, they're sitting there. They're like breaking pretzels into it. And they've got some like Chex Mix, and they're pouring it. And they're like, "What are you doing?" And you're like, "This will be great. Just trust me. Just trust me."
Eventually, I'd just be like, "Would you shut up
Yeah,
over there?"
exactly. Yeah.
Like if you're mixing it all, do it out at the condiment counter.
Mm-hmm,
Like
mm-hmm.
don't come into the theater. And I get we all got to get into our snack, but if you sit there and fidget with it for more than 30 seconds, I'm gonna snap.
Yeah. I've probably told this story before, but just brief recap. When I talk about popcorn, I gotta talk about my mom. And the deal we used to have was she would pay for me to go see a movie with her as long as I was like the popcorn guy. So what would normally happen is we get a large popcorn. She'd eat it before the trailers started. I'd go get another one. She might get through that before halfway through the movie. I go get another one maybe. She passes out. Now, I'm eating plenty of this myself, but I mean, like, she would just fall asleep in the theater. She's just like, when you're sitting in a comfy chair and it's dark, even if it's like a big bombastic film, some people just fall asleep. And my mom, the sweetest lady on the face of the planet, lovely lady, she just wants to eat a bunch of popcorn and fall asleep in a nice, cool, dark room, you know? It's just like, that's just kind of what she's about, you know? So there's many times where I go get, like, a bunch of popcorn. And I remember once, Joe, I saw What a Girl Wants featuring Amanda Bynes and Colin Firth. It was a long time ago. And it's about this story about this young girl who meets her estranged father who happens to be British. And they use the term loads. They're like, oh, I want loads and loads of this and that. So when I went to go get the new popcorn, I asked for loads of butter. And so the guy working there was like, oh, you want loads of butter? And I kid you not, in the bottom of this bucket or bag, which I'm pretty sure it was, there was this much, like almost an inch's worth of standing butter in this thing. I am not kidding. It was disgusting.
So you get to the bottom and you're getting the last bits of popcorn out. It's just like pudding.
Yeah, no, it was bad. It was like you're a city worker and you might have a job underground. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of what it was. I was like, this guy, he was just holding it down.
Lanyard on your back. Yeah. And, pull me up.
He was just holding that plunger down and just back and forth. He's just disintegrating the popcorn kernels until they're or just turning them to mush, and you're just like
freaking bag probably looked like SpongeBob SquarePants colors.
It kind of did. Yeah. So man, popcorn. I like popcorn. I really do. But like sharing it with a group can be tricky because you want to do like a few scarfy handfuls, you know, and then you pass it on to someone because you get those people just holding it like the whole time like a baby.
It can get annoying.
Yeah, and you're like,
it's good with like your significant other.
Yes.
Like if you can both just have one bucket and it's just alternate.
Sure.
Or it works.
If you're
sharing between like 3+, ugh.
I should do next time. Maybe if I go see Godzilla vs. Kong, I'll just go all out. Just have this huge freaking thing, just like right before the movie. I'll be like, yes,
do it.
See Solo, and then you know who's sitting next to you? The empty bucket, or maybe halfway full bucket if you don't want to eat all of it. You just sit there and you're like, that's my date tonight. They won't make it through the movie. Yeah. Oh gosh. Anyway, I like popcorn, but the real question is if you're not going to do popcorn or you're going to do popcorn, this is one that we got a lot of write-ins about because I really wanted to hear what people thought about this. Candy. Candy's tricky. There's some people who really like the chocolates, some people who like more of like the sour or kind of fruity stuff. Joe, for you, if you will make that choice, what's it going to be? Is it going to be like any of that? Or are you just going to skip it altogether? Like there's so many options there for sure. And they're very expensive, by the way. The dollar store candy jumps to $4 or $5. That's what I would say. It usually jumps up quite a bit. Are we having technical difficulties? Are you okay over there? Oh, I'm supposed to keep going. Hold
the question.
For time. Huh? The question again. The question again is candy. You want it? Are you in on candy?
Candy. I am not. Yes. No. Maybe. I don't know.
Where were you on the night of the 28th? Yes. No. I don't know. I don't know.
In my heart of hearts, yes, I'm in on candy. Would you like to know which one? Are we talking like my favorite? Like if heart of hearts, what I'm going to pick if I can?
Heart of hearts.
All right. So paired with my mellow yellow, sometimes with a peach flavoring, I am getting Dark chocolate raisinets, the biggest box I can find.
Gosh, dark chocolate raisinets. Kind of
If I
healthy.
could get a popcorn bucket and fill it with raisinets, I'd do it.
Dang. That's intense. I like it. I respect it.
And I'd have half of it gone by the time the trailers are over.
Oh my gosh. That'd be a lot of raisinets, dude.
Dude. Yeah,
That'd
that's
be
a little
so
much.
many.
I mean, that's like puking
Just
by
handfuls. Like,
oh, another, give me another.
you're like, he's not going to eat for a week. Just
What's going on with that boar down in the front row?
which, for some people who might not know, raisinets are raisins that are covered in chocolate.
Yep.
That's pretty much it. I just want people out there. They're like, "What is he? Is he just eating raisins?" Because like that'd be a healthy choice. It's a big old bucket full of raisins. It's like no. I got chocolate. It's like, oh, all right.
Yeah, but I would always get the dark chocolate.
Fair enough. For me, yeah, I like Sour Patch. I've done like the Trolley Bright Crawlers. Those can be really good too. But if you want to go chocolate, I think Bunch of Crunch is pretty fun in a movie theater.
I don't know what it is.
Bunch
What
of
is
Crunch?
it?
Bunch of Crunch. So you know what like a Crunch bar is? It's like a
Sure.
chocolate bar.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
got like
yeah.
that kind
Like
of,
the blue and white with the red logo.
yeah. It's like that, but if they made them into like they're like little nubs almost that are little bumpy nubs, like little kind of crazy little shapes, and you could just that's why people like to throw them in their popcorn because they're kind of shaped like popcorn and you can kind of grab them together. Bunch of Crunch not bad. I can't say I'm a huge fan of Junior Mints because I feel like after a few of those I'm like that's enough mint for me personally. But Whoppers are also pretty dang good. I like a Whopper. That could be fun.
Kind of crunchy foaminess
Crunchy
inside
malts.
of a chocolate shell.
Yeah, malt powder basically coated in chocolate.
Yeah.
But the one that I love the most, and the problem is it's my favorite candy, I just don't get it at the movie theaters. I don't see it as often, and if you do see it, it's usually going to be really expensive. But that's Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. I love Reese's Peanut Butter Cups so much. I would do almost anything for some Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. But I usually don't get them there because it can be pretty expensive. Like Joe, when I went with you and Haley to see Ford versus Ferrari, I got that bag of the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups minis that were already unwrapped. They're like the tiny, like the minis, so they're smaller than the individuals.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, even though the ratios between the chocolate and the peanut butter are not that great, but that's just me. I'm just saying that. But anyway, so candy maybe, but candy can be the most expensive. Well, I don't know. Compared to the other things, it just seems like the most because you see like a box of candy that you see at the store for $1, and here it's like $4.75, and you're like, what?
I mean, by the time you get like a medium and a medium drink and a medium popcorn, you're spending what, $12 ish. Some theaters probably 15.
Yeah.
You go to the large, you're probably cresting almost 20 for a large and a large. I mean, you're paying what, $8-9 for a soda. I think it's like $8.50 maybe, and then probably $10 for the popcorn. I mean, yeah, you're probably more than a movie ticket, really, or
for
about
sure.
the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, candy. I mean, candy's not cheap in its own right, but I mean, one of the things to me, like I said, it's about that experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you really want?
Yeah.
Popcorn. I mean, when you got the wife in tow, you kind of got to do what she wants, right?
Yeah.
Well, we don't want to spend too much money. Let's just get the popcorn. We'll share it. Fine. But next time for my birthday, I'm getting dark chocolate raisinets. Anywho.
Dark chocolate raisinets. Wait a second. You said chocolate before. There's dark chocolate raisinets too?
Wait, did I not say dark chocolate? I said, but the dark chocolate.
Maybe I missed it. I'm sorry.
Maybe I'm just out of it and I didn't specify, but dark chocolate, period. Dark chocolate, my favorite.
I didn't know they come in different flavors. Well.
And now I lost my place.
Popcorn sharing with the wife, and that's okay. But next time you're going to get something different. If candy comes down to it, I think candy for many people, and I don't want to say everybody, but for a lot of people that I've seen or families, that's like one of the last things. It's always pop and popcorn, not a question. Candy is like, do we have the kids along? Is there someone who doesn't want popcorn, who wants candy instead? You know, that type of thing. And it's more personalized. Like if you get a little box of any of the candy we've talked about, that's not going far. Popcorn and pop, that can go much further, you know, in a group. Yeah. So it's a consideration.
If I'm alone, or the wife doesn't want anything, or say it's me and you going to grab a movie, I I would go with the Raisinets, a box of those. And the one thing I like about a treat like Raisinets, or like you talked about Bunch of Crunch or Whoppers, it's that it's, yeah, it's a box, but there's a decent amount in there.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as like if I get Reese's peanut butter cups and there's only 3 cups, it's like,
or like chips, where it's like a 40% of it's just air, and you're like,
well, true, but I like the idea of like there's a bunch of them in there, so it feels like they're going a lot further,
sure. Yeah,
and
dude,
I can like savor each one, so it
You reminded me. Yeah. That's why I love Spree so much. Spree used to be the thing I got every time I went to the movie theater, because I would have that box of Spree for like a week. There was so much in there. I'm like, oh my gosh. But they are so loud. And when you want to get like 1 or 2 pieces at like a very suspenseful moment, it's like, yeah. You're like,
yeah, you're pouring them out. It sounds like somebody's spilling a bag of marbles in the back row.
It sounds like we were trying to determine how many marbles were in like the big glass jar out front, which is like, how many marbles are in there? Like, I'll count them now. Shh. It's like a rain stick. Like, I'm sorry. And then I get angry because I'm like, it was a green one. I didn't like it as much. I'm like, oh, it was a red one. That was a good one. Like, yeah, I like Sprees are great. But we had a lot of people write in about candy, and we'll have to talk about that. The last thing I do want to talk about as far as snacks go, and then we'll touch maybe on the home stuff as well, kind of food at home. Are you ever in the mood to get a hot dog, to get a pizza, to get something crazy at the movie theaters? Because they often offer them, but I don't know. I want to know what you think.
I'm at the theater. I'm a weird person. I'm a little OCD.
Yeah.
I don't want anything that can turn into a mess or too much garbage that I can't handle it in a cup holder.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
I get that.
Like I won't do nachos. It's just too much. Not to mention it's dark. I don't want something that I gotta like dip. I don't want a hot dog that I'm like eating and then I get halfway through and it's squeezing all the shit out the back end, and that sounded really bad. But you know what I mean. I don't want mustard on my lap, right?
Yeah. I actually talked to somebody recently who said she always gets hot dogs when she goes to the movie theater. But I think they plan on, when they say dinner in a movie, it's like they're eating their dinner at the movie theater. It's not like they go to dinner and then they're like, well, we should get some hot dogs now, like after dinner. It's not that sort of thing.
Good on them.
Or I had a friend who used to get pizzas, like the personal pizzas. I only ever do that if it's like the 21 and up, like it's coming from like a bar or restaurant, not that it's like in a little like machine that's been, it's rotating for 3 days.
And some of those, like the adult style ones with the bar and all that, and the like wait staff service.
Yeah.
Sometimes those are like here's a pizza for the 2 of you, and it's like a big sucker, right? Yeah. Like it's, a 12, 14, 16-inch pizza that you're all splitting up, right? That's pretty dope. I don't mind that.
We had a place where Joe and I went, our alma mater, a little state movie theater that actually offered a service like this. You could kind of like a date night sort of thing. And I remember going to a movie or two where it was like 2 people and a pizza and all that stuff. And the fun thing about this theater is that it didn't have a lot of insulation. So it was desperately cold in there. So the pizza tasted way better because you're like, oh, thank God, there's something that's hot in here to keep me alive. So
don't eat it. Let me hug it.
Exactly, yeah. I was like, they bring the pizza out. I'm like, oh my gosh. I think we saw Ghost Protocol. Did we see Ghost Protocol together, Joe? Did we see that in theaters?
Sorry, I was reenacting the moment of eating the pizza there where your hands are shaking. I think I had only been there once, and for the life of me, I don't remember who it was with. Sorry to say, I don't know if it was with you.
It might not have been. It's okay. I went with somebody then. I've seen, I saw 2 movies there, but anyway, Ghost Protocol, it what's the word? It broke, and they had to start it over, or it was like a moment where I was like, I guess it is Mission Impossible, because the lights, it all went down, and I was like, oh no, so we had to start over.
Your favorites. Favorite property ever. Mission Impossible. You're just like,
yeah. Thankfully, I had seen Mission Impossible. It was Ghost Protocol. I saw it at the nicer theater I was talking about before, so this was like a second viewing. So it wasn't because that would have been crippling. It would have been watching Endgame, and they would have been like, "Ooh, sorry, it after 10 minutes it just cut out." I'd be like, I will go up there. I will fix this." I need to see this.
I do remember. I think I went with you to see. Was it the 3rd Iron Man at the Good Theater?
Yes, we did go see Iron Man 3 together because that was at the end of one of our years together. Yeah, and we went and we saw it with 2 friends of ours. Yeah, that was fun. That
Yeah,
was a good one. That's a nicer
yeah.
theater. That was way. And then that theater overtook one of my local theaters, like that chain, and I was like, it's followed me home. And then a Quick Trip showed up recently, and I'm like, oh my
Well,
gosh.
what is the chain?
It was a Marcus
Was it?
or something
Okay.
like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, it was a nice. That was way
Okay.
nicer than the State Theater. The State Theater was, and it was cute. The State Theater was cute, but it was like it was cold and it was scary. Wait, I saw 3 movies there. I saw Ghost Protocol, Lincoln, and Silver Linings Playbook. My gosh. Anyway,
If I remember, was there like a weird balcony there, or was it
yeah.
literally just a small
I think there
room?
was. I think there were weird. There it had a few screens, but there was one that had like a weird balcony setup. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it was small. Like we're
It's
talking like
yeah, it was not big.
maybe a 16th the size of a normal theater
Yeah, it was tiny. Not a lot of people went there,
auditorium.
and it was a lot of the times for people who don't know. But it was like it would be like $3 or $5 movies. That movies that came out like a month or 2 or 4 months ago, and like they're coming out again for like cheaper for you to
Yeah.
see. And I was like, oh, that's nice.
It was a quaint little thing. It was still
Yeah.
kind of fun. I don't think it was anything to bash, and they had a
No.
nice idea with the here's a pizza, and
Yeah.
you could get that. I thought that was nice, and it was. I don't know. There was something slightly cozy about it, but I barely remember it.
Yeah.
Jimmy, recliner seats must have now, right?
Yeah, if you don't, there are some that don't, and they're pretty comfy. Like IMAX, I think is still having like issues because they want to cram a lot of people in there, and the screen's really big. Like when we went to go see Godzilla way back in the day, it didn't
Yeah.
have that.
Plus, a lot of times a bit of a steeper auditorium.
Yes, but I agree with you. If you don't, I think recliner seats they have to now because people have so many options to watch from home. You can't have a thing in there that people are like, oh, but the seats aren't good. They're gonna be like, I'm not coming back to the
You
movie
gotta
theater.
create the draw, right?
You gotta create the
Anything
draw.
to create the draw.
For sure.
And those recliner seats are great because I gotta admit, I can sit back and I can enjoy an almost 3 hour long movie and
Yeah.
love it.
Oh yeah.
Whereas if I go to a theater that did we see Infinity War in an IMAX?
Mm, yes, we did
Or
because
was
you
it?
wanted to hurt a child who was being really annoying, and I felt really
Yeah,
bad.
and I remember it was really tight.
It was
'Cause
it was that, and it was
the
3D
normal
too.
seating.
It was
Yeah,
it was intense.
yeah.
Not
And thinking
optimal.
back on it, I I will sacrifice the IMAX experience for comfort.
We
any
talked
day.
about that. You were like, "I'll go back to that theater that's closer to your house just because it's got the reclinable seats." And you're like, "It's
Yeah.
just it's chiller." And I was like, "It was less people because in each row you can only fit like maybe 10 or 12 people. In IMAX you can fit like a ton of people because it's stadium seating.
Yeah.
Like it's just like
Yeah.
hi, how you
Yeah,
doing?"
there's the pros and cons. Granted,
Yeah.
we're getting off subject,
Sure,
but
sure.
I think for the movie theater experience, it's kind of cherry on the sundae kind of a deal.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
exactly. Last thing I did want to mention here too. At home, I think it's pretty much all the same foods if I could get them, but I'm way better with eating chips at home. I just feel bad eating any sort of chip or anything loud in a movie theater because I don't want to like take away from other people's experience. It's just like a crunch, crunch, crunch. Like at home,
yeah.
I'm like, I can indulge in this.
I always try to be real discreet in movie theaters too. I don't want to. I don't know. I'm always respectful that way.
Yeah, make a
But
pizza
anywho,
at
I don't know.
home.
Does that
Yeah.
kind of cap it off, Jimmy?
It does.
We covered our favorites.
Yeah, it
Now
does.
it's up to the listeners and
Yeah.
viewers to comment below with their own, huh?
Well, that, and they actually did write in some, so I'm going to read those off in rapid succession right after we talk about this thing very briefly here, which is the stuff we like to kill time with, or otherwise known as...
Time killer.
That's right, it's time for Time Killers. The games we've been playing, the movies we've been viewing, the TV shows we've been viewing. Joe, what have you been killing time with, my friend?
I probably talked about it last week and the week before and the week before that, but Letter Kenny all day long, every day. Whew, I like it.
you've
I
done it.
like it. I'm on season 7. I'll be done soon. Pitter patter, you know what they say. Let's get at her.
Oh, God.
So yeah, I'm just enjoying it. It's easy watching, and it's good humor and just I don't know, creative and nothing too overly complex. Other than that, yeah, I haven't been playing too many games as of late. I did play the Outriders demo on Friday night, I believe it was, with you and Drew. I do need to probably play some more this weekend just to try out other classes. I know that I'm pretty much 100% purchasing the game. I enjoy it.
You were mixed on
But,
Friday.
Yeah, on Friday there were things that just weren't quite impressing me, and I
Sure.
wanted a little bit more I wasn't necessarily blown away by the style of it quite yet.
Sure.
And as opposed to like Anthem, where I knew like the customization was really cool.
Yeah.
And then I researched it a bit more online the next day. Like, man, I'm really surprised I wasn't quite blown away by it. And then as I researched more, and I also realized I only played one of the classes. Granted, I like that class and I liked its abilities, and you can't unlock all the abilities. So I know there's a lot more to decide between, which is great. But the gunplay, it's different. It is very Gears of War style, which isn't a bad thing. It's just something that I have to get used to more. It's not a precision shooter where like I ADS and I'm on them, right? It's more, you got to plan your moves a little bit more, and it's not as twitchy, right? It's third person.
Sure.
It's bound to be that way. So I just got to become more accustomed to that, I think. I think it will grow on me even more. I like the concept and everything. But as I researched more the next day, I saw more of what I was expecting, and because I had seen their trailer and that sort of thing, and I
Sure.
was like, that's what inspired me to be like, Jimmy, we should check this out. And I think you had mentioned it even before I did, but
No, I just laughed because Levi had brought it up to me, or I'd said it to Levi, and then you came to me without me prompting it, and I was like, that's why I was laughing that one day,
yeah,
because I was like, oh, thank goodness. I was like, I didn't have to bring you to this. I didn't have to lead you to this, water source and be like, do you like this? You just brought it to me. I'm like, great. So
yeah.
yeah,
And that's what got me though was their trailer. I mean, the marketing was well done, but of course they're showing off kind of their best of the best. You get like the glowing lenses and features of with like a kind of organic matter
yeah,
suit with like a crown on it and kind of glowing flame. I mean, they showed off some of the really cool, stylish customization that I think is more advanced, not end game, but rarity stuff that you need to get to in the normal game when it comes out. So knowing that stuff still lingers out there, and with how many abilities are still out there, and the way that you talked about a little bit before we started recording, just the way in which your class can change and totally change your play style based on 1 minute you're doing this primarily, this is how you go into a fight with a group, but then you got this pair of gloves that gives you this ability that kind of changes the way you approach fights.
yeah.
Now you may use the same abilities, but those gloves put some accent on it. I think another good example is you get a type of gun or weapon that has a certain elemental power, like freezing ammunition, which I unknowingly found. I just equipped off the ground a gun that I found that was higher rank than mine,
That's
and I started
sweet.
shooting, and everybody starts freezing. I'm like, that's great.
Yeah, it's really nice.
So, and those sorts of things lend themselves more towards certain classes too. Like think about if you're freezing somebody, I would think that the what's the big class, the heavy class's name?
The Devastator.
Devastator.
Yeah.
The Hulk smash type of play. I think a gun like that would go well with. But needless to say, I think there's more to it than the demos really showing off, and that makes sense because it's a demo. They can't give away all the gold right away.
Yeah.
So I think I'm in it. I want to get to that more customization and whatnot and see how I like it. But I think it's worthwhile, and it's a new, fresh thing to spend some time with my buddies, you, Drew, and just get in there and wreak some havoc.
Yeah,
So,
and you were playing the Trickster class for people wondering.
exactly. Yeah. Teleport behind them, shoot them, freeze them, all that sort of stuff. Cool abilities for sure.
Yeah.
But Drew said, "Oh, I found my main. You can't pick this one." I said, "Fine."
You both can. You can both be
So
Tricksters. I was Pyro and you were two Tricksters. It was great. The slow motion blowing
yeah.
people up. It was wonderful.
Well, and you could kind of, what's the word, spam them with those abilities a little bit, which was slightly overpowered to a certain degree. But if you get sloppy, you'll get caught,
Yep.
and then you can't get to us to revive us, and it's
Yep.
the whole thing. But yeah, I don't know. I still want to try out the other characters. I think it's a definite buy. The one thing I think really my only valid complaint about it is I expected it to have, and granted, I'm not playing on a new console by any means. I have an original Xbox One 2013 edition, right?
Sure.
Um, but I did expect a little more quality out of it, graphic wise.
Sure.
Not that I was booting up Halo or Call of Duty or something that's really top notch budget, but I did expect a little more, especially based off of their marketing. Obviously, it's trailer stuff like cinematic that makes it look amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're gonna kind of advertise it in that light, you better come pretty damn close to
Sure.
that aesthetic in the game. And it's not bad, but I think it's kind of borderline. And like I said, I expected just a little more than we got. Like
Yeah.
there are certain things that, like the vehicles and stuff, like when you're first, you land to survey the place or whatever, the whole storyline intro.
Yeah.
Um, those rover vehicles that they're driving and stuff, I was like, wow, these are like this looks like an Xbox 360 game for a second. I was a little worried.
Sure. Yeah. No, I understand. It's fascinating because I wonder if a lot of that stuff, graphically, like the look, I should say, there's a difference between graphics and aesthetics, but maybe like when we get to further biomes or things in the game, it won't matter as much that they don't look so graphically beautiful because it's just like a change of settings. But also I wonder if it was like an optimization type thing, not for like the rovers and the cutscenes because that doesn't make sense, but sometimes when you get three people on screen and you're all using abilities and all the other people are shooting at you and maybe one of those guys is using abilities, it can get really hectic. Maybe it was a processing power thing where they were trying to optimize it not only for these new consoles and PC, but also like Xbox One and PlayStation 4. So that's why I always wonder if like games like this get compromised in some regards because they can't do it all simultaneously like you want them to. Or maybe it's a budget thing. Maybe they just didn't have the time or the money, which time in video games is just money. It's like every business. So I know what you mean. I was expecting to be a little more precise though, because it came from Gears of War Judgment. These guys, it's not like they're new to the whole cover-based shooting thing. The weird thing is, for anybody who does play this game, only use cover as a last resort. The cover is more for enemies, especially there's a few different abilities that you guys have as like actual altered to get them out of cover. But like you're not supposed to use cover nearly as much as the bad guys do. So it's kind of weird to like, have that in the game and like have it as an option. But it's like, we've been trained so much to use cover. But they're like, no, get out of cover and get in there and start killing people. But yeah, I had some people ask me what they thought of the game. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to more of it. I do want to see what the actual full release looks like, but I was grinding out playing the demo today with a buddy Fragadin, and it's got crossplay, which honestly, this is one of the first games I've played that personally I can play crossplay where I can play with anybody on any system really, and that is freaking great. I wish every game would do that. I know it's not always, an option, but I like the fact that also I don't think they've said there aren't going to be any microtransactions in this game. And it's not a games as a service. They said it's going to be about 35 hours, maybe 40 hours or so, depending if you want to keep doing the end game stuff. But they said that is what the game is. It's a full packaged game. They're like, here it is. Here it is. They kind of present it to you, and they're very open and honest about it. And I think that's smart. I think it's better to do that as opposed to,
True.
Not kind of doing that. So, yeah.
Did they talk about any DLC?
Not yet. I think with a game like this, because they said that they weren't going to do any of that stuff, I don't know if they're planning on doing it down the line. Maybe it'll see, like, if it does really well, then they can do DLC. And this one might be a lot like Remnant from the Ashes, which is another third-person shooter that did well later on. And people, like, kind of came, and it got, like, a little bit of a following around it after the release. Maybe that'll happen with this again, too. But a lot of people were not into it. A lot of people complain that, the controls or the, like, actually how it handles or looks, for the cutscenes and things. And it's a lot of brown, but I think that's just this opening area. I'm hoping it doesn't continue to be that way because it's true. It's a lot of brown. But someone put it really well today. I think it was the J-Strom. He said, this game reminds me a lot more of Borderlands than it does of, like, a Destiny or an Anthem. Because it's more about, like, hey, I got a new gun. This changes how I play the game. Because in Anthem, it's like, I have these abilities I like, and these are the ones I'm sticking with. And then I shoot when I don't have those abilities. You know what I mean? Like when
And
the
in
abilities are cool.
Anthem, there are probably a few less of them. Each class probably, you get more powerful ones, but they're not as diverse. There's like probably 3 different type of like rocket abilities or area of effect things. And so it's maybe a little less customizable.
Yeah, which Just a little news thing. They made their pitch. That Anthem Next team came in, made the pitch to EA, and EA said, nope, it's not happening. So Anthem Next is officially dead. There is not going to be any updates or anything else to Anthem for the foreseeable future, which I feel really bad about because it had such a really freaking cool base and like evolved before it. And I know it had problems. All the games that we talk about like this, I know they have problems. I know they do. But there's such like a really cool thing built in there. I just, we're talking about this kind of abilities thing. It would have just been nice earlier on if it would have been like, hey, you're picking kind of that mage class. Here are the 10 abilities they have. Maybe you should specialize into a few of them, as opposed to like picking up gear that's like, well, now you have the Thunder Strike and you're the Thunderbolt, and you're like, oh, okay. Like, I think people want to be able to pick and spec into a thing. Be like, I'm the fire mage. You're like, oh, okay.
There were things done wrong and there were things done right.
Yeah.
I think Outriders maybe has a few. There's more customization. It's a little more natural. I think it's a little bit more simple.
Oh, it's way more simple. Yeah, they were talking. Yeah. People are complaining about like it's super linear, and I'm like, yep, it's very linear. The side quests are like to the left and right, but if you want to go with the story, it's like go forward. It's like yeah.
But as long as the style amps up and maybe the missions get a little bit more interesting, I think it has enough legs to keep you going. But Anthem, I mean, there just wasn't enough. Yeah. Content was boom, 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 boom. You're done. You want to redo these?
Yeah, and the whole roadmap thing. Yeah. Like every time I see a roadmap now for a game where it's like, well, in a few months we have this planned, and in another few months we have this planned. It's like maybe just wait and put all that in, and we'll come back when it's done.
The quality of it was great, though.
Yeah,
like,
it was. Yeah.
Graphically,
load times
the
were
look
not
of everything, the style.
Yeah.
Load times were tough. I'm sure with the new console, it might have even been better.
I could try it
probably
out.
A lot better.
Yeah, it wouldn't be like 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Jiminy Christmas.
But like those classes that they created, those mechs were awesome. And the customization, like the paint, the materials, I mean, that was cool. Fairly in-depth, and I really liked it. And then they could have improved on the weapons. I think a lot of the weapons were pretty blah. Like they were like freaking blocks in your hands with a little bit of color now and again. Every once in a while you get one that was cool with like some colored metal plating. It's like, yeah, I'm going to run that because it's a little flashier or whatever. But man, and then the things that you fought too, the giant spider thing, the little spiders, the some of the weird monsters you didn't encounter and have to fight. And then those giant Goliath things that were like...
Yeah, the Titan giants.
The Titan things. Great!
Yeah.
And the open world was pretty great, too.
Yeah. It's kind of
fairly open world.
Yeah.
It was... Well, I mean, it was populated with stuff, the vegetation, the cliffs, the tiering of it all.
Yeah.
It was all pretty good in that regard. And then here we are. I feel like if they could have expanded that and made it more than like, I forget, how many hours would it take to beat that game, really? I mean, it wasn't very long.
Well, the problem was there's that part where it like gated you, or it was like you had to get to that next gate or whatever, literally. And it was like, well, you have to kill this many enemies and you have to get this many headshots. And it was all these like stupid little like, what? I can't. Like,
yeah, there just needed to be more plain and simple. And I feel like if they would have kept doing DLC for that game, and maybe improved upon a few things, I'd probably still continue to play it.
Yeah, I probably would too. It was a fun game. I really enjoyed it.
It was.
I know
it felt good.
Yeah, it was mostly for me. It was the load times and like the barren open world as far as like stuff to do. And it was like just fly over this. I'm like, I like flying. I just want more. I will say this about Outriders though. Looking up at the legendaries that they are coming out with and some that are actually in the demo, and you could just actually get them to drop. That's the hard part, right? We're trying to grind out this thing, which they may have patched today about killing this captain again and again, but man, some of the weapon designs are nuts. There's this one like SMG or assault rifle called the Migraine, and it looks like you're holding like a pound of flesh. It's like from that Scorn game, Joe, and it's like this like bone, and it's like a beat. It's almost like it's breathing or something, or like a beating heart. It's so weird looking. I was like, oh my god, like that's cool.
Yeah,
like, that's weird.
That's the kind of stuff that I'm interested in.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and the percentages too. If you want to go watch some like really in-depth videos, please check out Skill Up's and Force Gaming's videos on this, on Outriders, because both of them basically did reviews for the demo, which will be longer and more in-depth than I think most review sites will do for the full game. But Skill Up said it really well. He said most people who are into looter shooters, you have to wait a long time to actually get the power fantasy, but this game offers it to you really early and gives you meaningful changes, like Joe was saying earlier, to your kit, like being able to use your ability twice in a row, which you normally couldn't for one thing or whatever else. But yeah, the percentages sometimes are just nuts. It's like just 40% more damage when you're sniping or something. And you're like, that's a lot of damage. Like stuff like that. It's not just like it's a 0.1% critical hit chance. And you're like, oh, goody. It's like, this is like, no, it's going to jump up significantly in a fight. And you'll feel it right away. You'll be like, oh, okay. All right. You're like, the guns you're holding, you're like, all right, this is hefty right here. But yeah, the technical aspects, I'm interested to see if they'll hammer that out in a couple months. I'm not sure. But I wish it was a little more responsive. And I give Joe a hard time for this, but he does play, you play a lot of Call of Duty, but there's a reason for it. It's because it's the best first-person shooter in the market right now, right? Like for the feel and the kickback and all that stuff. And usually if you play other games like this, especially third-person shooter, you're not going to get that. But from a Gears guy, I'm still like, this could be a little more like,
okay.
I want that visceral nature. I want it to be a little more. I want the feedback. So for instance, if you get sniped by a sniper, in most games, if you get sniped, you're gonna you're not only gonna kind of fall back from it, but you're gonna hear it, and you're gonna your guy might be like, ah, like that. In this, you'll get like the red line on you, and you'll kind of maybe get knocked out of cover, and like your health bar will drop by like a quarter or a third, but it doesn't feel like a sniper shot you. You know what I mean? I want there to be that kind of like that feedback that like, oh, I need to recognize a new threat that I haven't before. And sometimes it's hard to snipe people out of cover. Like I can kind of see their head and I'm like hitting the top of it, but it's actually not proccing. And I'm like, that should hit, but it didn't. So yeah, just little things like that. But overall, I think it's a really fun game. And I also just love comboing powers because that's one of my favorite things to do in Anthem. It's my favorite things to do like in Evolve. I just love it when you group up and you do some damage. You know what I'm saying, Joe? You know what I'm saying? You're just working together. You're doing these big moves. Feels good, man. So I'll be there day and date, Outriders. I know some other people I know one guy who took the day off. April Fool's Day, baby. Where it's like, he's like, we'll play some Outriders. So I'm like, all right, let's freaking do it. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be good. Anyway, I'm just going to say that's our time killers for now, if that's cool with you. Then we'll move on to the last segment of the show here, which is community feedback.
Oh, and questions. Dun, dun, dun.
We did it. Oh man, somebody photoshopped my head onto a baseball player, and now I'm an American hero. Can you guys see this? Beautiful. Beautiful,
wow, bro.
beautiful.
You don't
Thank
even
you.
wear a helmet. You don't give a
You know what I used to do, by the way? So I would bat right-handed, and then if I like missed one or two, people would be like, Jimmy, aren't you left-handed? I'd be like, all right, and then I'd switch, and like you could see the pitchers go like, wait, what? And like, because it like, throws off the pitcher, and they also start thinking, this guy's gonna crack it into my face, because like lefties, like it might be coming right back at you, like real
Dude,
quick.
I
Oh
would
my
hit
gosh.
lefties all the time because I was a pitcher in like A-League or something just before high school, and lefties I would like notoriously hit because I threw such a mean curveball. It didn't matter no matter what I threw, I naturally threw a curveball, and I'd always clip a lefty for some reason.
Dude, yeah, it's scary, right? Yeah, I actually got one right to the left thigh once, and I got to walk to first because they just nailed it right into my thigh. I was like, oh my gosh, like.
Well, you're not stealing a base anytime soon.
I'm not stealing a base, and actually, you know what? I wasn't playing baseball after that season. I was like, you know what? I'm kind of done here. But fun fact, Katie was actually on my team. It was like a guy's team, but Katie was on the team. So we both were on baseball for like one season. It was horrible. Anyway, these are answers that came in from the lovely Legionnaires about what's their favorite snack to bring to the movie theater completely legitimately. So Wes Bates on Twitter, he says, "Hey Wes, how you doing, buddy? Quick plug here, Joe. I was on the Great Game Debate last weekend, and if you guys want to go check that out, hear me talk about video games stuff, you should check that out. They're very good." He says, also peanut M&Ms and a cherry icy are my go-to in the theater. Peanut M&Ms are my favorite candy, period. I like peanut butter M&Ms. How do you feel about peanut M&Ms, Joe?
I like peanut M&Ms. Now that I'm older, I've acquired a taste for like peanuts and stuff like that. So
Sure.
I like the peanut ones.
So what you're saying is peanuts are for old men? No, I'm just kidding. Peanuts are fine. Peanuts are fine. I'm not a nut guy. I think I bit into a brownie once and it had walnuts in there, and then ever since I was just against nuts. I was
Dude,
like,
I'm not a fan of that either. For
I
some
hate
reason,
it.
I'm like, why would you put nuts in something so pure and
Yeah, Jason
beautiful?
was making brownies for his daughter's birthday. Happy birthday to you. And he was like, I'm making brownies. I'm like, you're not putting walnuts in there, are you? And he's like, no. And he's like, I'd rather put chocolate chips. And I was like, that's dangerous, buddy. Gooey chocolate chips in your brownie? Oh my goodness. Anyway, Ryan Lehman says, my favorite snack is buttered popcorn with an icy. Can't beat a classic like that. That's a great one. Uh, Zora Caviar, this is a great one, Joe. Listen to this. My local theater serves chili dogs. WTF. Too messy. Are they expecting Sonic to walk in and watch a movie? Joe would never eat a chili dog in a movie theater after what he said tonight. Which is very funny to me. I just just like what are you guys doing? You're doing chili dogs? I've seen that, or like chili cheese fries. You can smell that. Can't you, Joe?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Sonic coming into a movie theater though, that'd be dope.
That'd be kind of cool, yeah. Uh, J. Hunter Pearson puts in, I think that's Dr. Pibb or Mr. Pibb with red vines equals crazy delicious. Um,
Ooh, I
is that,
do. So what's the difference between red licorice and red vines? Because I really
yeah,
like
I don't know.
those like peel and eat cherry Twizzlers or twisters, twisted. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
do
Red.
you
I
use it
guess
as
those are red.
do
No,
you use it as a straw? Some people do, like a
no,
Twizzler as a
that's like
straw.
true licorice, right? You
Oh
bite the
yeah,
end off and it's hollow.
Twizzler.
And no, I don't do that bull crap. But I do love the cherry licorice with like the peel stringy ones. Ooh,
Oh, that's
ooh,
different. Okay. This
I
one
have a
comes in
weakness for
from
that.
Real Draft Punks, some Disney fans after my own heart. This blows my mind, Joe. Listen to this. He says, this was just announced, and it's now my favorite snack. And it's a chocolate-less Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. All right? It's peanut butter on the inside and a peanut butter candy-flavored shell on the outside. It's just peanut butter. Like,
It's like
that's crazy.
peanut
Apparently,
butter on peanut butter on peanut
yeah,
butter.
well, Draft Punk says I'm also a classic giant popcorn and trough of soda guy at the theater. Love the word trough. I do also enjoy a bag of peanut butter M&Ms as well, though. Draft Punks is a guy after my own heart. He's a Disney guy. I got to try this peanut butter cup that has no chocolate. That hurts my brain. I'm like, what are the, I don't know.
I know they make vanilla ones, like
Yes.
vanilla chocolate.
Well, it's like Oreos, but instead you're like, yeah, we decided to make the cookie part out of cream as well. And you're like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah,
You doing what?
yeah. It is weird. Oh, by the way, speaking of things like that, I love myself a good raisinets, dark chocolate raisinets, or dark chocolate Kit Kat bars. Ooh, what a
Oh,
toss up! I
put them
do
in your
like a
coffee?
dark chocolate Kit Kat. Oh my gosh.
Was that a coffee thing?
Sorry, continue,
No.
continue.
Do you put it with your coffee? I know people love their Kit Kat in the coffee.
I mean, that sounds amazing. I've never done it though. That's
Oh,
stupid of me.
no, it's okay. You can do it now. This one comes in from Steven / Dad Joke Central, Stephen Beaumont, who was also on the Great Game Debate with Zero Caviar and West Bates. He says, definitely my go-to pick at the confection stand, which is Maltesers, which are basically Whoppers. I had to look him up. I don't know if that's more of an Australian thing. He's like, just looked up Whoppers, and yeah, okay. I looked at him like, I'm pretty sure it's the malted milk balls covered in chocolate. I was like, oh, that's pretty good. All right, Joe, rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be, pal.
This one comes in from Wes Bates once again. Question. What are the most underrated... Oh, this is not going to help you at all. I'm sorry. I'm going to answer this one for you. What are the most underrated or underserved anime series you've seen, and are there any new shows out or coming out you can recommend or are looking forward to? Maybe you could do that last part.
And take it away, Jimmy.
Underserved or underrated? I don't know, because I'm probably going to say one that people are like, online, they gave it like a 9.5 out of 10. I just don't see people talking about Soul Eater. Go watch Soul Eater. Everybody, I think you would enjoy it. Soul Eater, and also I know people... Just go watch Code Geass, for the love of goodness. Joe would even love Code Geass. I'm going to get him to watch either an episode of Code Geass or an episode of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. One of the two. Full Metal, everybody loves Full Metal, but Code Geass I feel like is for... Like it's more of a it's kind of more mature. It's more of a thought provoker at the same time. I'm talking about like really well-known anime though. Check out S Cry Ed. S-Cry-Ed. Old anime, fight anime, pretty good. New shows or any new shows that are out or coming out that we could recommend or are looking forward to. Joe, I don't know if this is just anime specifically, because I talk about anime on Anime Attack, which is a show I do once every year, it seems like, but there is a playlist for it. New shows? I don't even know what the newest show we've watched together. Like, well, not that we've watched them together, but like, I don't know.
What's coming out that we need to check, that people need to check out?
I'm always just trying to get up to date on Blacklist, or I've been watching season 3 of Good Girls. It's a good show. Mae Whitman.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good. Yeah. Check it out. Looking forward
Nothing
to.
comes to mind for me.
Yeah, shows are a little bit harder. Movies are usually easier for me to be like, oh yeah, Godzilla vs. Kong. It's all that matters. That's what I'm just gonna start telling people now. This question comes in from J. Hunter Pearson. Joe, question. Oh, this is I love this question. Describe your dream Jurassic Park game. What type of game of it? Or what type of game is it? Who's developing it? There we go. I mashed those together.
Wow.
We've talked about this before. I've said it. I don't know if this would be the one for me, but like Alien Isolation, but with velociraptors. I think, if you wanted to make a horror game like that, like a first-person horror game.
That is pretty cool.
That'd be pretty cool. Because I think you lose something in the arcade versions of Jurassic Park where you're just gunning down hundreds of dinosaurs. You're like, it's like Aliens. No offense to Aliens, but it's like, it's more not as scary if you're gunning down thousands of them. You're like,
True. Yeah, it's more of like a horde mode that's just like whatever. Whereas if it's jump scares and finding them in unexpected places, that's great.
They just announced a horde mode Alien game, Joe. That's third-person shooter and co-op against a bunch of xenomorphs. Are you in?
And you play as the Predator because that's their sport, right?
Nope, you play as humans who are like Marines who are just trying to survive.
Am I in or am I out?
Are you in or are you out? It's Xenomorphs, Joe.
Show me more.
Show me more. HR Geiger's here. Show me their upgrade tree. But yeah, that's one idea. They've already kind of done like the whole, like if you build a park, like a Sims version with Jurassic Park Evolution.
Sure, which is cool in its own right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would lose interest eventually. I feel like if you're going, I feel like your Alien Isolation comparison, I feel like that's pretty well laid out. That's a good idea there. And I feel like what I would think of is probably along the same lines. So I think you said it best. I was going to say something to the effect of literally I would like to play a character in the movie. Like, come test out. You're going to be the first guest to experience Jurassic Park. This is our test run demo experience. And you run through it. Next thing you know, you're getting smashed in a car by a T-Rex. And what do you do?
Yep.
And I don't want to say it's open world, but there are multiple paths you can take, and those decisions may have effects and all that. I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I think in the same breath, it's kind of what you described, only with more than just velociraptors. I want to see a variety.
Yeah. Another one you could do is like Splinter Cell. You're a spy trying to break in to Jurassic Park, and you're trying to you run into scientists, and you're like, you're stealing embryos, but you're also dropping scientists. They're like, who are you? And you're like, nobody. like,
don't you mind who I am?
And you're like, oh, you just hit a red button, and you're trying to cause pandemonium because you're like in the labs and you see like a raptor's caged, but you like hit a button, raptor jumps out and kills some people, and you just sneak by. You're like,
no, you're in a room, you're about to steal the embryos, somebody flips the lights on, and you're like, my eyes, because you're wearing the night vision goggles.
Turn it off. InGen sent me. I don't know who's developing it though. I forget the people who did Alien Isolation. I'm so sorry. Those guys.
Let's just say them.
Let's just say them. I'm gonna probably look them up. Just the guys and gals, the nice people over there. That's such a great question though, because I just love Jurassic Park. It's just such a hard thing to make a video game if you want to make it like a pure video game. That's all I'm trying to say, because it's like, unless you do it that Alien Isolation style, I think you take away a lot of the intrigue and the suspense. If you're like, if a T-Rex comes and I'll just shoot him. I'll shoot him a bunch. That's a very good question though. All right, Joe, I'm pretty sure we had one more over here on the Discord. I just want to double check and make sure so I don't forget anybody, because if I do, I'll feel so bad. I'm gonna feel so bad. Where are you? There we go. There we are. Oh, yeah, and he also sent in another question. He said, What's the biggest improvement you'd like to see in the Legend of Zelda series? Joe, you love Legend of Zelda, dude. What do you want to see? Just like M16s? Like Link grabs an M16? He's like, Ganondorf, I got something for you. It's called the future, baby.
Yeah, or an M4A1 with, all attachments and a 60 round mag, maybe some purple tracer bullets.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What would get you in on that game, by the way? Oh, Creative Assembly, by the way.
Zelda?
Alien Isolation. Yeah, what do we need to put in Zelda to get you in? He's like, I don't know. Not sure.
I don't know, because I don't know.
You would love Breath of the Wild. You would love it. You just have to give it a chance.
Yeah.
And then
I can like anything. I just have to give it the time.
Then you say, what about my uncle? Did you give him a chance? Did you? I'm sorry about that. A little Spider-Man 1 reference there, everybody. He killed somebody inadvertently. The guy backed out of a window. I mean, he could hold up in court. Daredevil could represent him. Yeah. I don't know what would get Joe in on that. I don't know. I want more physics-based stuff. I think it's really fun. I love physics-based puzzle things and games like that, especially open world. I just like more powers. I want Link to be able to fly around like Magneto. That's the dream. Joe, you know what I'm talking about?
Magneto's a great character, Jimmy. Great powers. And with great powers come great responsibility.
Yep, that's what I want to see. Also, in Skyward Sword, he had 2 grapple hooks, and they even considered using that so he'd be like Spider-Man in Breath of the Wild. So I wonder if they will actually ever do that. And he could just be like, so he kind of be swinging. He doesn't have webs, but he'd have like kind of grapples he shoots out. Which I was like, that's cool. I just don't know how you do that in the open world if you don't have a bunch of trees.
Bat Elf. Call him Bat Elf.
Oh, Bat Elf. I was like
Batman. He's got the.
Oh, there we go. Let's just put he'll just be Just Cause 3. We'll just put boosters in his glider. I don't know how he does it. Sheikah technology. He's just gonna do it that way. I thought we had one more question in here. Is
he Zelda or the Green Goblin?
Dude, make him the Green Goblin. Oh my gosh, I love Green Goblin so much. I don't even want to see the new Spider-Man trailer stuff. By the way, over under. How do you feel about Spider-Man No Way Home? That's the title. Spider-Man : No Way Home, instead of Homecoming or Far From Home. No Way Home. $10 says he finds the way home.
Is that actually the name of the next one?
That's the one.
Really? Well, They're sticking with the theme. I'll give them that.
Yeah. What do you think? How do you feel about it?
Oh, I mean, they're sticking with the theme. Give them that. I think that's fine.
That's all he's got. I love it. Oh, yeah. Final question. This is from Ryan. He says, as for a question, how do you two feel about theaters' meal items like pizza or sandwiches for theater goers? We didn't even talk about sandwiches. As long as they're quiet. And it doesn't smell too bad.
Again, if I'm doing something like that, I want in college auditoriums where you had the little rotating table.
Yeah.
I got to have something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I just wouldn't be able to relax if I'm trying to fumble with stuff. And I want just a little box of candy and my drink. Yeah. Easy.
Yeah, we did a long time ago, we did an episode on like bad theater etiquette or horror stories that if people go back and find, if you go to movies a lot, you will have bad stories to tell. And the more you go to movies, it'll just happen.
Yep.
But, a good movie theater experience is one that you can't even recall being in a movie theater. No offense to movie theaters. I just mean like you come out and you're like, it was just a perfect movie. Or just I was in it. I was enveloped. But if you're like worried because there's a person tapping their foot down the way. I
remember seeing Avatar with my dad and my sister. And I remember some people just a few seats down from us came in and they must have been drunk or something, whatever. And the 3D made them sick and they ended up puking.
In the theater?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And then if people have that gag reflex. I covered it
in that episode, but that happened.
I'm so sorry, man.
My dad was down there and he just flipped down a couple seats to the other direction. Luckily, it wasn't a full theater.
Good on you,
Yeah,
Dan.
but I mean, seriously, people are stupid.
Yes.
Anywho,
Anyway,
continue.
that's our final note here tonight. Thank you everybody for watching and writing in. We had a lot of questions and comments. I appreciate that so much. I'm sorry if I missed your question or comment. Please write in again next week. And if I do miss it, sometimes we'll just make a whole episode about it like this. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys ever do have a question or a comment, you can either post it in our Discord or you can tweet us using the hashtag Critical Podcast. You can tweet at our official account, which is at GoCritical on Twitter, or at me personally. I'm a Jimmy Good 013. However, if you'd like to tweet something to Mr. Lever, Joe, where can they find you?
Joe Lever _627.
That's very good. That keeps changing, and then like your Instagram handle has changed, and I'm like, I gotta get all these straight.
Yeah. I only changed the Instagram handle once. Same with Twitter just recently. I just want them to be more, yeah.
And if anybody's still listening at this point today, I don't want you to tweet a hashtag. I want you all to join me and tweet at Twitter and tell them to give me the @JimmyGood account. I'm going to use my very, very small amount of influence to try to obtain that, because that person, whomever they are, they're not using it. And it frustrates me that they have it and it's just @JimmyGood and they're not using it. And it's like, you're killing me, man. So tweet at Twitter. Tell them that I deserve it. Maybe they'll understand from a third-party perspective. I don't know. Who knows?
But you're telling me that there's another Jimmy Good out there.
There are multiple, but not for long.
Yeah, I mean, come on. And what, you think they're worthy of the name?
They're not. There can be only one. Highlander. I don't know. Did I butcher that? I don't know. Anyway, if you want to support us, the best thing you can do, just stop by maybe one of the Twitch streams. We have an Instagram if you're into that sort of stuff. And also just comment below. That'd be great. I just love talking with you guys. That's the best thing. Thank you to everybody who's been listening. And also we have a Spotify version and iTunes version and all that stuff. So if you are just specifically listening to our voices, please let me know. I want to know how it sounds on your end. Anyway, Joe, thank you for being here today. And a huge thank you. And yes, thank you. And you're welcome. I mean, thank you. No, you don't have to say thank you. I have to say thank you to you. Because, you're the host. I mean, the co-host.
All right, I'm taking up the mantle. I knew it was time.
We've done this in the past. You were the host. That was a good show.
Thank you.
Also, a huge thank you to our patrons. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for supporting us financially. You don't have to do that, but we appreciate it. Anyway, until next time, just remember, love and hugs, big hugs, treat everybody kindly, and Joe, what should they do?
Adapt and overcome. We'll see you next time.